haven't seen much Rek'Sai so far this tournament, but I feel like he needs to be on early game, needs to be able to dictate the pace to Karay, who is a very classy jungler and, you know, does kind of set the tone for the Fenerbahçe lineup.
Well, they do put the faith in the rookie. There is first pick Rek'Sai there for the Bombers. So not a pick that everyone is playing. Certainly in the metagame, it's not at the forefront, but as you mentioned, certainly a champion. He knows his way around.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all about the first Scuttle Crab into mid-cross into second Scuttle Crab for a lot of these aggressive junglers. A mid-cross to leech a little bit of experience, maybe get that level 3. And I'm interested to see what Fenerbahçe respond with. A strong brawling lane, potentially looking for something even like a Gragas, which also has some early game flair there for Karay. Certainly could fit the tone. Talia still up and available, was his third most played champion and did default back to it against a couple of teams yesterday. I think it was Isurus Gaming in their victory there. Looks to be potentially shades of similar.
Well, with the Galio ban, Braum seems like a pretty nice pick to prioritize. So Fenerbahçe quickly snap that one up, and Talia will join in. So, you know, certainly trending towards the heavy side of his champion pool, but playing what you know in these types of games is very important. As a reminder, this is an elimination game. The group is not locked yet, but if you do not win here, you cannot win the group.
Yeah, and I would like to see Bombers once again go heavily towards 1-3-1 now. You know, pick up yourself a Tom Kench, grab the LeBlanc potentially for Ryoma as well. That was his best performance so far. And, you know, try and open up this Fenerbahçe map. I do think that they are prone to potentially looking for plays when they're not necessarily available. Karay in particular is a very aggressive player. It's kind of that double-edged sword. When it comes out very well, he looks like a superstar. He did win MVP, but when that's not the case, can kind of hurt them. And I think that, you know, both the champions that the Bombers just locked in there kind of do lend itself to kind of that pick priority, open up areas of the map play style.
Certainly interesting to see Rogue go for the Thresh here. Did reach for it already on day one. And as you mentioned, Ryoma had a great LeBlanc. So, I mean, I think his TK did look good. Rogue has been a bit hot and cold so far in this tournament. But we'll see if he can make the plays with the Thresh, as that does give the Jace over to Fenerbahçe as well.
Yeah, and a really good pickup here for Ruin, because we've already seen Mimic struggle against it once already this tournament, and I think that Ruin did play a little bit on the back foot, but got heavily counterpicked. Grabbing a flex at this stage of the draft also means that they can still play it into Ryoma's LeBlanc as well, and I think that a pretty well-rounded comp so far for Fenerbahçe. Have denied a couple of the power picks away from the Bombers, but also set their draft up for like that heavy brawler style early to mid-game aggression that this group seems to be following the trend of at the moment.
I kind of also like that you mentioned Kennen already for Mimic, and Jace blocks that somewhat as we will look at the rest of the bans here. Rumble taken away there, I assume, from Mimic, and Draven will be taken away from Hades. Certainly, I think a move we can get behind.
Yeah, and
there's also Poppy.
I was going to say Mimic leans heavily on Rumble and Poppy in losing lane matchups. They're kind of, he's like, get out of jail free card. Let's just look for some early game scaling team fighting, you know, impact on the map through utility as opposed to damage. And they've really thrown a very good question towards the Bombers lineup. Are you good enough to stand toe-to-toe with our star player? Are you going to throw the gauntlet on the top side of the map? Because we've got mixed damage and no easy answers for you to be able to take away here. I like the terms that the Turkish lineup is dictating towards the Bombers right now.
Yeah, I mean, even Lucian here for Hades, keeping it aggressive in the bot side as well. I like the Azir ban. Also on the Bomber side, so taking that out of the hands of Bolulu and maybe giving Ryoma a little bit more room to get aggressive, especially in the 2v2. FBI considering Kalista here, certainly a classic combination.
This game's going to be a brawl. Like, you can tell straight away from, like, you know, one...
Oh, and now it's really going to be a brawl. There's a Vayne.
Yeah, there certainly is.
I think FBI's played a different champion every game, by the way.
Has he? Yeah, potentially could be the case. Also leads a couple of stats, you know, up there in damage per minute. I think Hades is also CSing really well and accumulating a lot of farm for himself. Kind of one of those unspoken carries towards the latter stages of the game. Once again, prone to some decision-making errors, and I would say the one criticism I have of FB is that they just die a lot on the map at some strange portions of the game. And once again, we're seeing some interesting priority for Bolulu here.
Yeah, I mean, we thought about maybe Zoe could be okay there versus the LeBlanc, but instead it's Nautilus. Here for Fenerbahçe, I mean, is of course a pick that Ruin can play, but we've seen it twice already this tournament, I believe, and it has gone mid lane.
And this is a way they like to play, right? Triple carry style, Karay, Ruin, and Hades going to be on the carries, get double utility onto the map. any utility on a mid laner right now, I feel like it's just really good for Fenerbahçe. It gives them another avenue to be able to play the game through, as well as some early game power. So, you know, have to be very aware of the CC, the skirmish potential, the lockdown, and the split push threat coming out of Fenerbahçe. At the same time, I mean, Bombers have just kind of said, all right, let's get one item champions. Let's try and kick off a snowball and get the game rolling early. Always a get out of jail free card with FBI playing the Vayne that can be shut down quite well by one of the best bully lanes in the business in the Lucian Brawl.
It's also a Nautilus, pretty good tool to lock down a Vayne when she's trying to tumble invisibly all around your team fight, but I guess we'll find out. The teams will shake hands. You said that traditionally it's been quite the battle between Turkey and Oceania, and certainly with a lot on the line here between these two teams. Going to be quite a fun game. You said Brawl, I'm ready.
Yeah, and it goes all the way back to, 2014. Legacy versus Dark Passage. First time I ever saw these two regions play against each other. It was Oceania that came out swinging, and then Turkey just closed the door on the whole championship and was able to run through that one. The loser of this game is out of this tournament, Still have to play some more, but not for anything after this point. Destiny still in the hands of Fenerbahçe. If they win their 2 games, they at least force a tiebreaker to be able to come out of the group. Cannot wait to see the results.
Certainly cannot, as we'll get ourselves onto Summoner's Rift for our next bout of day 2 here of the MSI play-in group stage. I remember hearing Coach Choo Choo's during the final saying that, you know what, these Bombers guys, they just kind of pick Lane Kingdom. Well, bit of that here, certainly in the draft, and expecting a lot of early action between the two teams.
Yeah, and I think kind of an adaptation as this tournament has progressed, Pastry Time, is the fact that if you win lane, you get early access to river, you can move around the map, you can kind of staunch people off jungle positioning and try and win out pretty heavily. And the game seems to be pretty snowbally on the current patch from what we've seen in play-in so far. So early game does seem to dictate a lot, and once again, just have to go back towards Hades and Japone, going to be kind of the catalyst along with Kirei. Ruin, I expect to just be left on his island and try and bully Mimic. Here they go, however, with an invade.
Kirei also here. Good flash from Mimic, but is forced to burn the Summoner early.
You just got to be aware of that. I mean, probably not good enough from the top laner of Bombers. If someone just runs at you, they probably have backup at this stage of the game, and Talia is one of the best level 1 champions in the game. Coupled with the fact that you are very melee into a ranged champion like Jace, no longer having the flash available is going to hurt Mimic in this laning phase.
Also curious to see Dark Harvest here from Kirei. I think we often see Electrocute, but Dark Harvest can get the job done.
Yeah, Comment also coming out of Mimic is a ranged matchup, so it makes a lot of sense in terms of the poke. However, not going to be able to have the all-in potential of Electrocute as well, which is kind of the other summoner rune choice that you see out of Aatrox in the top lane.
Well, bottom lane here, a little late here for FB. They were helping Kirei out with his blue buff, but as you said, already a good lane dominant pick, and they just walk straight up and start the trades.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, that's what they're going to be able to do. The lane is pushing away from FBI and Rogue, however, that's going to mean early level 2 for the bottom lane.
Nice double flay, but not sure they really wanted it. Rogue already stunned. Did get ignited as well, but no other cooldowns committed. Hades also took a beating from FBI on the other side.
Yeah, that's a really nice play from Rogue because he's the one with the double potion. Summon a spell burnt on the side of Fenerbahçe as well. It's going to be a pretty healthy level 2 now, and potentially should be able to push in and maintain that priority on the bottom side of the map. You can see Scuttle Crab into cross already there for Balkan, so looking to run a little bit more aggressive as we saw in the latter stages of yesterday.
Yeah, you mentioned it already. Certainly curious to see which jungler shows up for the Bombers today, because Balkan, he was the same player playing those games, but looking very different as the day moved on. Ryoma also already getting some push in here in the mid lane, but Bolulu's going to be just fine here for Nautilus. Really just going to hang back for a lot of this lane.
And I don't mind Kirei's choice to not path for a Scuttle Crab early here. However, junglers potentially are going to meet topside. Balkan has information on Kirei.
Yeah, Tremor Sense helping out. Double buffs here for the Talia. Only the red right now for Balkan. Does have his entire blue side jungle to clear out, but there's a 2v2 brewing here first.
Yeah, and once again, Kirei just protecting his top laner. Balkan goes in, however.
He's going to look for it. The plant goes over. Kirei forced to flash, but Balkan going to flash follow. The flick is there, but the first blood still on the table. Mimic wants it, but he doesn't have the flash, and that's no secure onto the Talia.
And you can see in the bottom lane, heavy trading as well. Hades had to burn both summoner spells. Just a little bit of an action-packed early game Pastry Time, but no kills ultimately going over. Once again, Kirei just shadowing into Ruin's lane, making sure that he can crash that wave, but good read from Balkan and good pathing for the start of this game means that kind of not all that much gained on the side of Fenerbahçe.
Certainly a good early win as well for the 2v2 down there for Bombers. You mentioned that, you know, Lucian Brom, very good dominant 2v2 lane. So to get a very significant CS lead early on has to be nice. As we'll watch how it happens, Spawn.
Yeah, I assume it's just going to be a hook landing and can't get behind the Brom in time. Great double play back. Good unbreakable up for Japone there to save the kill from going across. Balkan once again top lane.
At it, but Ruin reads the play. Still with a decent CS lead as well, so not feeling too unhappy. Still doing Jace things and trying to bully where he can. I'm expecting the pressure to continue there as Mimic does get a nice knock up, but Ruin again seems to know that the jungle isn't here this time, so not going to be too worried.
And you can see the CS advantage is kind of mirrored in the bottom lane, which is why we have a very even game at this stage. The Vayne being able to push into the Lucian, being able to burn some of the spells, certainly not something that I expected. I expected Lucian Braum to heavily bully this lane. But certainly the Ignite at level 1 and the ability to start in lane helped the Bombers duo out.
Hades also, you know, doing some temp work as a jungler. Helps out Kirei steal the Raptors.
You reckon work experience time right now for Hades?
Yeah, I guess so. Rogue also going to roam over and maybe just try and clear out a ward, because he probably suspects that something happened there, as he did see the bot laner leave, but there's a nice ward, just going to put one down instead. So a bit of vision on that right-hand side of mid lane for both.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you know, with Japone having to go back there, just means that not able to generate any form of pressure right now. Balulu staying up in CS is quite surprising to me. LeBlanc is kind of an oppressive laner to deal with, however, just showing the pick of the power of this new pick in Nautilus. Haven't really, we've seen mixed success in it actually throughout the playing stage, but haven't really seen it take over a game, have that shove, and be able to really put on full display kind of what people are talking about in solo queue.
Certainly though, Aftershock doing nice work for Balulu. Also with that teleport, has used it to keep the lane afloat versus the pretty oppressive LeBlanc, as you mentioned. Balkan and Kirei, though, going to meet here in the top red side jungle here for FB.
And some great battle warding coming out from Balkan because he knows that there is no flash available. Top lane right now does have priority, so first rotate should come across from Mimic as you see him ducking into Fog of War. However, Balulu bucking that trend in the mid lane.
Nice hook into Flay by the looks of things there for Rogue onto Japone, but pressure continuing here. Ryoma needs to back because that TP kind of tipped the lane back, but Balkan wants to get the gank off here. Good chain from Ryoma. There's the Ignite as well. Ult gonna follow, still under the turret to safety, but that needs to be a kill here for Rek'Sai. No flash as Balulu burns his to safety.
And absolutely right, Pastry Time. Just the use of the teleport meant that Balulu was starting to bully the lane. However, Balkan, after shoving Karee out of top side of jungle, means that he has first access to the gank. There's not going to be a counter gank. Respect shown from Fenerbahçe's jungler. And once again, just holds this game in the balance. So many near calls so far. Balkan being very active, but his hard work not yet paying off.
Also now actually on the bot side of the map, but Japone will spot him out. Balkan takes the Scryer's Bloom. You can see the assist pings for Fenerbahçe, and actually a control ward committed. That is going to be swept out quickly for an easy 30 gold.
Yeah, super important here because FBI is building a wave as blue buff is spawning, so should be able to rotate first to this play. Balulu still in lane. Balkan tagged up means that this might diffuse, however, should be a fight.
No hook either. Smite available for both, but Blue gonna reset, so no chance to take the buff just yet.
And still Balulu's ultimate on cooldown, so surprised to not see Bombers pressure harder with Ryoma, who has his back up and available. As previously mentioned, it was always going to be FBI and Rogue just ducking into Fog of War, costing Hades and Japone that experience, that crucial access to the wave and gold. And you can see that right now, 22 CS advantage in the bottom lane. Still mirrored on the top side of the map where Ruin is putting in work. Kind of looks like the dam is poised on either side of the map right now. Almost at breaking point.
Wrong end of the trade there for Ryoma as well, who does have the Sork Shoes, but not particularly tanky. Mimic missed the knock-up just barely, but he wants the solo kill. It's Flash's burnt Mimic with a World Ender, charging in, but there's the last auto, and that's first blood, Bombers.
And against the flow of play, the top laner of the Bombers stands tall. Balulu rotating up. Mimic should, however, be able to get out.
Ulti almost there, but Ryoma also going to cheat up towards the top half of the map, and Balulu probably can't make it work. His ulti's back and ready, but Mimic just going to show respect and back away.
And that is a huge deal for this stage of the game. Ruin was poised to take over the map. However, now with Balulu having to shadow topside, opens up Dragon as well for the Bombers. It is going to be infernal and disaster for the Turkish lineup.
And again, we talked about it for Ruin. He seemed so good when the tournament started, but, you know, yesterday against Isiris kind of showed some rare weakness from him. I wonder if maybe some of the scales are starting to tip for Fenerbahçe, because that's another uncharacteristic death 1v1 for Ruin.
Yeah, and I wonder if the tournament's maybe getting to him a little bit. I saw a quote saying that he was surprised how aggressive Zeros was playing. Now Mimic, just with the all-in at this stage of the laning phase, burns the Summoner spell, pops a World Ender for the increased movement speed that it gives you and just able to catch up with the dash. That's very nicely played. I also like the decision to go back through turret, drops aggro, means that he has the shortest way back to his turret for the nice rotation coming across.
Oh, Kira with a wonderful Weaver's Wall. Mimic no ulti and no hope to get out of this one. Safely Dark Harvest, procs and Ruin. He wants the kill in kind, he will receive.
Great bailout from Kira. We were talking about how that bottom lane, and meanwhile, Hades has just burned double summoner spells again off screen, but I was saying, you know, Kure just able to ensure that Ruin keeps that lead that we were talking about. He gifts the kill over to his top laner. Pressure now on the turret. Very nicely done.
Well, as you mentioned, it does feel like a game of two sides here. Ruin still staying afloat, although Balkan has something to say about this in a 1v1. He's 2 levels down, but no ulti there for the Jace. Balkan gonna chase in, flashes in, grabs the knock-up. Chilling Smite's down as well. Needs the execute there from the Void Rush, gets it in, but I don't know if he has enough, and Ruin just shoots him down.
The outplay for Ruin in the top lane, again, ensuring that the swag continues. Still has that 32 CS lead, now has the 2 kills in his pocket as well, and that's a disastrous mistake from Balkan. You should just know that at this stage of the game, level 6 to level 8, you know, lethality items already picked up. You cannot win this 1v1. He thinks that he's helping Mimic out. He thinks that if he's able to equalize this trade, will be able to pick up that big creep wave and, you know, potentially put back into the turret, but Ruin just plays it perfectly. Had the support of Kure also heading back up into top lane. You know, great play for the Fenerbahçe top laner, but I don't even really understand why Balkan was going for that.
Whatever he saw does not look like it was there, as Ruin gonna, you know, go from having an advantage to growing an advantage now in this 1v1. So Mimic, unfortunately, left with the damaged goods there in top lane.
However, as good as top lane is going for Fenerbahçe right now, you do have to talk about the fact that the Lucian is 30 CS down, and once again, we're seeing the Essence Reaver build come out. Now, one of Lucian's main advantage is that he's able to build sustain for pretty much free in his kit, and dashing forward with a Cutlass proc gives you legitimate kill threat and follow-up. In a lot of these situations. The fact that going for Essence Reaver, I think, kind of hamstrings your early game, means that the matchup against Vayne isn't as good, and FBI and Rogue are dominating this laning phase.
Yeah, again, a tale of 2 lanes here, as Kire with the Rift Herald does play to his strong side of the map, with Ruin looking so good in his 1v1 right now, but that does mean that the race for first turret is on. I think will likely be won by Rift Herald here, but FBI is going to make a go of it here.
Yeah, certainly looking to, and at minimum, you know, more gold onto Ruin means that Mimic's job is, like, impossible throughout this game. And Kure just continuing to shadow the correct side of the map. You can have a look at how far up he's allowed to play. Rogue now looking for a face check. Needs to be careful, but mid lane pushing in, plus Kure top side. With Ruin hitting that turret, just means you have no access to being able to contest anything up there.
Well, FBI also still working on that outer turret. Balkan was there, but he was not enough to try and shove down the last few bits of the plate. And that first extra turret gold did go over Ryoma now. Maybe a little too far forward. The ult off though for Nautilus as Kire tries an aggressive one. Has to flash away from a potential hook there by Rogue.
Yeah, it certainly does. However, I like the idea from Kure, you know, and once again, playing around the side of the map where you have vision, you have control, playing towards that strong side, taking away the jungle CS, looking for opportunities. Ryoma goes in again.
Well, gets hooked up, and I'm not sure he's going to survive the night. Snipe from Ruin gets himself the kill, and now the Void Rush from Balkan just gives Ruin yet another kill. Mimic going to try and turn it back around, but he's the only damage dealer left with a double kill there with the dunk out of the knockup. He's going to turn it all around for Bombers. Mimic still going to try and make the play happen, but the Resurrect is now off. Japone able to get the kill, but FBI wants the snipe. He gets the shutdown, he grabs the gold, and now Japone running under his turret.
And in the end, it is just going to be a 3v3 trade. However, Fenerbahçe playing that without the Lucian, who just gets to stay at home, minimize that gold differential. Ryoma dashing forward here, you see how much damage he takes, and the prediction from Ruin for the style points. However, Mimic's arrival to the fight does so much damage at this stage, and the ability for FBI to get here, have control over his 1v1, goes straight up river and does arrive, saves this. But still, it looks like Fenerbahçe have the initiative, have the control, and don't have to expend as much when they go for the fights.
Well, it looks like Drake is back up in a few seconds, so Volkan gonna take the Scuttler.
He can't
gonna take the second Infernal. All he wants to try, but as you mentioned, cannot be there because there's too many members of Fenerbahçe.
Yeah, and once again, just look at the control. You know, ward already, mid lane priority achieved beforehand. Pink wards either side of the pit. This has to be a give at this point.
Leona wants to steal, but yeah, no chance. Really gonna dive back in. Talia, though, able to secure it. Chain's gonna latch, but just a bit of poke there onto Ruin as Fenerbahçe do equalize on Infernals.
Yeah, and really nice setup from Fenerbahçe there. They immediately deploy out, guarantee mid lane priority. Once again, set up the river nicely. Even though there was the Scuttle Crab control, the double control wards really does shut out the Bombers' approach to that objective. So slowing the game down a little bit, you know, a little bit more control shown around that Infernal Drake equalizes the objective.
And if you want to see kind of that top lane matchup we've been talking about, in real time there are other stats ticking away, and as you can see, that's close to 2,000 gold ahead there for Ruin.
He's a monster. And the scary thing is in my opinion, he gets stronger as the game goes on. Bombers want to shut it down.
Needs to get the gank going. Volkan with the flash knockup. Ruin going to get exactly that under the turret, but the flash is enough. No! The Void Rush follows. The sneaky Rek'Sai underground, able to grab that kill.
Yeah, maybe mistiming the ultimate there, but kind of inexcusable to flash away from the Rek'Sai in ultimate range for the execute.
FBI with the Lantern to safety as well as Bombers continue to try and attack Ruin and right the ship as they can for Mimic.
And it's always that question, hook does not land.
Really nice there from Rogue. Hades going to be the target. That should be a simple pickup here for FBI, who's running Rampage once again.
And we talked about the dam breaking. Well, it looks like on both sides of the map, that has happened. Curé down to protect the turret.
Nice condemn, not enough to get the stun, but Braum did not commit any CC, didn't have an ulti.
Yeah, good unbreakable there from Japone to actually save the turret from falling down. Extra gold over to FBI means potentially they can look to deploy Ruin into the bottom lane. He does have teleport up and available, whereas when you look at Mimic Summon Spell's not going to be the case. And this was just a masterful
oh, what a
Rogue. Threads it in between, great double play back into the box. One of the reasons that people consider Thresh a good matchup into Braum. He's not committal at the start, but when Braum dives in, he does have access to CC that lands on both.
Shove does not
Lulu.
Again, with the ulti ready to go, Nautilus so easy to try and find pickups if he can get visibility and in range, but no luck there. The rest of Bombers do rotate up as the bot lane is here once again.
And once again, surprised to see Ruin deploying towards the top side of the map. Not going to be any objective up there, is just looking to defend the turret, has teleport available. Would like to see Fenerbahçe deploy towards bottom, look to break that turret open with their strong member, who still has teleport up, and maybe play for some topside control.
We get the turret in the meantime, but local world will be denied there from the Bombers as Mimic fighting Ruin once again, but he's got Kira in his back pocket. Here's Volkan though, gonna try and make the turnaround happen, and that's enough. Volkan again with the ulti finds the execute.
Yeah, and Ryoma first rotate up. You can see the fact that full access to top river for the Bombers right now means that that is a trade in their favor. Ryoma potentially looking for more here, Pastry. We'll decide against it.
Yeah, no dive really there, but FBI just fancies himself some farm in mid lane as Hades is trying to pick up what he can. He's 50 CS down and 2 levels, or actually 1, as he does tick over to level 9. But FBI even happy to take a pot shot or 2 from the turret as he harasses Hades.
And once again, it's not all about the itemization, but FBI has the ability to do this. Take damage, heal it back up off the wave, and continue the harassment. However, with the Essence Reaver build, that is just not available for Hades, and he's having a nightmare performance right now on the Lucian.
The Lulu also in a good spot to try and get this gank going. Rogue, if he completes that recall, going to be tough for his AD to get out, but looks like FBI just plays it safe, keeps the wave up towards the turret, and then backs away before the Nautilus ult can find him.
And once again, really good control on the top side of the map for the Bombers. You check out the top jungle right now of Fenerbahçe, and it's just being warded up like a Christmas tree. There's just everything available information-wise for the Bombers lineup. That means that they know what side of the map Curé is trying to play towards. There's a good weak side ward, bottom jungle for Ruin to be able to push up, but I think this switch is a little bit too late. Would have liked to see it before the top lane play.
FBI looking for the Lantern, jukes around the Winter's Bite. We'll get back to safety, and again, despite all this strength building in either side, the bot side there for the Bombers and the top lane there for Fenerbahçe, we're even on gold, effectively. We're even on Infernals, we're even on turrets, as Bombers are still trying to knock down that mid-outer, so plenty of play left in this one.
2v2.
Ryoma, oh, goodbye.
Yeah, and that's really sloppy play from Ryoma. Thinks he's safe, thinks they have control of top side, but just dives into his death. Ultimate on.
Glacial Fissure needs to click the lands and does find the button. Rowan also diving in, but denied a little by Mimic, who does have World Ender, forced to pop it, and the flash as well. As Kirei soars into mid lane on the Weaver's wall. Balulu there with the ulti, good stopwatch. One of the few things that can get you out from Nautilus off, but the lantern is there. It's not enough, the damage, absolutely insane.
And the rookie for Fenerbahçe generates a kill topside, grabs another one onto the jungler of Bombers, and Balulu and Kirei just made their presence known on Summoner's Rift there. The fact that they were able to regain control on a side of the map where they had been shut out of vision, get the kill against the tighter player onto Ryoma, and then generate a second pick on Volcan will lead to a dragon and get themselves back in the gold lead.
Yep, they'll be ahead by a couple as we'll watch this again. You said it already, it was so sloppy from Ryoma.
Yeah, and he feels safe because Volcan's behind him. However, no eyes on the jungler of Fenerbahçe means that one hit, layered CC, and this is what I want to continue to see them play around Balulu. See, Mimic has to burn Summoners here to get out. And that just means that Volcan, and you know, being critical of it all day, when you're on the back foot, when you're playing with a member down, you cannot be in this kind of situation as a Rek'Sai. Gives up the free kill, gives up the shutdown, and Hades all of a sudden back in this game.
I also think Balulu not only playing well and continuing a pretty good run of form so far in the tournament, but just showcasing the power of Nautilus.
Yep.
Everyone knows he's such a CC train. He does significant damage, so when you get caught, you die so quickly.
And that's what I want to see. You know, Ryoma at this stage of the game, very squishy. Nautilus ultimate into Kirei flick is going to mean a kill. So just leave Ruin on his island, let him do his thing. We've seen how successfully this guy does play the 1v1 matchups. And start to follow around the CC train that is Nautilus.
BI trying to defend these turrets, but a little tough time wave clearing as he shoots down the minions one by one. Will protect them in outer turret for now, as the race is still on for who gets the second turret first in the game.
And you know, checking in with win conditions, you still have to say FBI ATCS up. You know, 2 kills on this vein, completed Rage Blade, well and truly team fight ready. So Fenerbahçe need to keep the map separated. They need to ensure that people are answering side lanes, that they're playing with control, and that they're not starting needless team fights without information around FBI at this stage. At the same time, I think that, you know, with Kirei's ultimate and with how far Balulu is ahead in this game, the ability to pick on side lanes, use the double teleport advantage that Fenerbahçe have, means that they should be able to dominate, dictate terms of when the fights actually happen.
And again, this super short lane in mid, FBI, he's getting farmed, but so is Hades. And with the turret still being up, Fenerbahçe can just leave someone in the side lanes and maybe try and start a fight. There's 4 people for the Turkish lineup in the midsection of the map right now.
And you can see, playing towards the top side of mid, it's the small things pastry.
Hook not going to land, and that damage from Tilly are pretty significant.
The wall just saved Rogue's life. Kirei with the perfect flick, however, just nudging into the wall. If that was through pebbles, it was a little bit closer to the Turkish lineup. Certainly would have been a kill, and you can see that Kirei is so dangerous after 15 minutes on this champion, just able to play around his vision very nicely and knows the ranges of the spells. Rogue got completely caught off guard there, and it nearly cost him.
Well, no pick off this time as the kills stay even at 7 apiece. Team's kind of waiting for that next objective. We did, of course, see that second Drake and that Ocean go over to Fenerbahçe as Mimic finds a ward there with his Dustblade.
Yeah, really interesting build coming out of Mimic. You know, no armor being really stacked up on the Fenerbahçe lineup. No tank item coming out. Means that not going to go with the Black Cleaver, instead go.
Saw Jason build and maybe thought he liked it. Good flash from FBI. Now Deponent going to be under attack, and FBI is able to get it, but Nautilus just does too much. That's the kill over to the Braum, and Fenerbahçe getting kills across the rift here. That's going to be another one here. The revive not enough to save Mimic, and Fenerbahçe find 3.
And they just walk at each other. That's going to be Fenerbahçe wiping the Bombers off the match. Oma not even at the team fight, and that just could be the Baron.
Again, oh, that flick was so sick by Kirei. Predicts the distort, gets the kill. That's an ace, and that'll be Baron as well.
And a master of the champion. No kills yet for Kirei, but huge impact on Summoner's Rift right now. Fenerbahçe keep planes alive for the TCL. They're going to take the Baron, and they have a huge lead.
I mean, again, a game that looked even as far as goals, as far as kills, as far as structures go, has been blown wide open as Fenerbahçe resoundingly win that team fight, take the Baron and push themselves firmly into the driver's seat.
But just an unnecessary team fight to go towards. Fenerbahçe were always posturing towards it. When two members are answering side lanes, you see the information right here. Ryoma showing top. FBI just plays without any respect. And there's just no way they can turn this into a 5v5. That means that Fenerbahçe are just able to dictate terms, key CC laning, they delete FBI off the map, and Ryoma thinks he looks for a sneaky play at the end, but Kure reads him like a book. Surprised he hasn't gone towards another Najais at this stage of the game.
I've seen quite a lot, actually, in this tournament. With FBI going to grab himself the red buff.
Now 3,000 gold, and this is what has always impressed me about teams like Fenerbahçe, the fact that in big game situations, they play very strictly towards their win conditions. You know, we're going to fight when they answer side lanes. We're going to make sure that we're using our key ability to push in and flank and get perfect CC down to our advantage. We're not going to take the scrappy team fights. We're going to make sure that the carries of the Bombers are split up. Just time and time again, playing towards that win condition, and a little bit of the sloppiness that we saw in their matchup versus Isurus Gaming, now gone.
Well, there's Ocean number 2, Drake 3 overall for Fenerbahçe, as they're also the team that gets on the scoreboard for turret number 2 as they took down mid with their Baron. At this point, it's more a question of how much more can they get. Already up to about 5,000 gold ahead as Balulu takes down the mid outer and finally fells the outer ring. And Kire and Ruin just looking to snipe somebody.
Yeah, and with this Baron buff now, you know, once again, not very much wave clear going to be available for the Bombers lineup, so they're looking for pick, they're looking for a little bit of cheese. Potentially might have found some here in bottom lane.
Double knock up attempt, but the Nautilus ultra shuts it down for Volkan. Mimic is in the backside, but Kire with the wall finds a snipe in onto the Rek'Sai.
Ooh.
Rogue misses that hook, the Fleet misses as well, though FBI though caught up. He just can't get through anything as Kire gets a well-deserved double. Ruin gonna make it the third, and Fenerbahçe exploding onto the map.
And time again, the jungler of Fenerbahçe coming up crucial, dodges out on the hook, guarantees some damage. Ryoma looks for the play, not able to find it.
Yeah, Chunks down, but uses his flash, uses his ignite, and gets nothing for it as Fenerbahçe will slap down this inhibitor turret and take it as well. In fact, the end may well be in sight as they are not stopping his spawn.
They certainly aren't, and they have the tools to do it.
Yep, Mimic again going in with Ryoma, but there's just too much. The Nautilus cannot be moved through. The Nexus turrets are melting as the Bombers look at their chances and see them evaporate in the tournament. Fenerbahçe still not done. It's 2 seconds up for FBI. The Bombers need to try and mount some sort of miracle defense at this point as Fenerbahçe will back away as the respawn's complete.
Yeah, and once again, I think a good back away. They go for the play. Flash Shock Blast there from Ruin. Unfortunately, did go wide, which means that the game stays alive for a little bit longer, but message clearly sent. Fenerbahçe want to close this one out quickly. They want to force that tiebreaker, and this looked like a good setup. However, when you're looking for cheese, when you're looking for brush camps, it can go wrong so easily. And Kure obviously knew something was up, had open track through the jungle, dodges out on a hook, and just has so much damage in the fight. Really impressive performance from Fenerbahçe's jungler.
And you're right, there is a Magi's in this game, but it is Balulu that is the scholar for today. 10 stacks, actually had it before that fight started, so feeling like a pretty good amount of value collected in that sale.
And they've got 3 kills between them, but I really have been impressed by how Balulu and Kure have navigated their way through this game. You know, only 1 death apiece in what has been a fairly bloody affair. And I think, you know, they're going to have to play well if they are able to challenge Fongfu Buffalo, because Noel and Meliodas at the moment also bringing that level of play. And I think that right now, Kure and Balulu coming online a little bit later in these games, you know, after that 10-15 minute mark. But certainly just as potent when they do find that kind of form in the map.
There's low kill numbers, kind of betraying the fact that they are the only 2 players to have double-digit assist numbers in this one as well. So certainly the impact prevalent here in this one. Fenerbahçe up about 7,000 gold. The Baron has dropped off. It will be another one to play for in a minute 30 if the Bombers can make it that far.
I would be surprised to see Fenerbahçe go back towards the Baron, because I think that they have the tools to end this game without it.
Ryoma also trying to find a pick off, does get good poke onto Kire, but with the Zhonya's a little tricky to really 100-0 that Talia.
So this is what I want to say actually hooks on.
Oh, that hook! How did that happen? The world end to pop at the resurrection. Gonna have to try and buy time to click on the lantern, but he can't see it. In and amongst the trees, and all the champions just streamed into the jungle.
A very unique interaction there does net Fenerbahçe another kill. And with Ryoma at only half health, that means that once again they can try and push in for the end.
Again, those stacks make it 12 now for Balulu. Only one Nexus turret and a Nautilus ult ready to try and close out this game. Bombers looking to drown here at this stage of the tournament, and that's another hook catch. Ruin dominating, gets the next kill. Balulu pops into stasis to keep himself alive. Ryoma, he's burning down. He gets sniped by Ruin, who is just putting the feather in his cap at the end of this game. Make it a triple for Ruin as Fenerbahçe in their top lane take him out, eliminate Bombers from the knockout, and push themselves one step closer to Fongbu Buffalo.
And undoubtedly the better team in back-to-back victories over the Oceanic region. Fenerbahçe have looked dominant. And once again, it just seems to be that top side of the map. You know, Ruin, Balulu, with Kirei backing up both lanes everywhere, saving lanes, generating advantages, and having terrific late game performances. For a jungler to team fight so impactfully pace through time is impressive to me. And the rookie of Fenerbahçe standing tall in these crucial matches.
Start to feel like maybe 2 jungle bans isn't enough, Spawn, because that Talia looked good time and time again as Fenerbahçe right the ship a little, kind of back to more of the form we expected from them.
Yeah, and I think a little bit more of the class we expected from them, right? The ability to stat up the map, play around their control, and look for the smart engage. Not only look for the skill check outplay, but the ability to play nice and slow when it matters and generate leads in crucial areas at the right stage of the game.
Yep, no need to panic. Again, Hades, a terrible time in their 2v2.
Yeah.
I mean, credit to FBI and Rogue for having a great landing phase, but good landing phase is not enough to get you through there.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. I mean, if you're going to point out a weakness right now for Fenerbahçe, it does look to be that bottom lane. They have fallen behind too many times, but I think, you know, the team able to structure fights around them in the right way does cover up for a lot of that weakness.
Certainly does. We'll take a look at some of the moments from that game, 22.5 minutes in. This was kind of the fight that tipped it.
Yeah, it certainly did. And once again, just want to point out the fact that everyone is there for Fenerbahçe. They know the fight's happening. The Bombers are late. And that's what I mean, that when you're playing around your own control, you're dictating the terms of the game. Great shot calling, great setup. And I mean, ultimately, a very easy fight win. They pick up the kill onto Ryoma after that as well. Leads to a Baron and leads to a very good game victory.
Yeah, luckily for him, that one was cut out of that particular replay. But as you could see, felt so close for the first 20-ish minutes of the game. And then when the hammer dropped, it fell hard. Fenerbahçe just dominate once they found that lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, key members of the Bombers going missing. Ryoma with a shocking game on the LeBlanc. Did perform well yesterday in the victory versus Fongbu. Not able to get it done. And I think after early game as well, decision-making of Volkan really did bite his team hard, but doesn't take anything away from the victors. Fenerbahçe certainly deserved of the fact that they can now go into that crucial matchup against Fongbu.
And Kira, I think deserving absolutely of the MasterCard player of the game. I mean, we've talked a lot about junglers so far on these first 2 games, but they have deserved it. It's been a clinic, and that matchup will be one to watch when they play today.
Yeah, it certainly should. And a couple of things I like about Kirei, you know, that team fighting prowess, but also the ability to absorb bans, play different things for his team that, you know, we're not actually seeing out of, gives him multiple looks to be able to throw towards. We've seen the Elise as well, some more early game flavor. So I think he's a versatile player, and he's showing that he can absorb so much pressure and still have crucial, you know, all-star performances from that jungle position.
I think also credit to Ruin. We talked about Zeros in their last game, playing more silently for a big superstar. Ruin, you know, had some moments where, okay, not going so great. Kirei did swoop in to keep the lane there, and Ruin just played very sensibly when he needed to.
Yeah, and that's the impressive thing about both Zeros and Ruin. They don't sit in a lane and just try and batter down. They are able to move around the map, even on champions like Jason, have big skirmish impact. So, you know, really